Jim. In about 1984, I was wandering around Vancouver with a high school friend, and we came across the free personality test at the local Scientology building. We both went in and took the test. Naturally, I had lots of issues and was signed up on the spot for a self-help course. Interestingly, my friend, who was always an oddball in our group of small-town high school friends, was told he tested high functioning and never heard from the Scientologists again. Is it possible that that Oxford capacity test can weed out the oddballs, or is it that he somehow failed the interview during the test? If so, how? Okay, well, I'm not sure exactly what happened because this is a pretty broad setup here in terms of he went in, took the test, and they didn't try to sell him things, or at least he didn't say that they did. I can think of a few reasons, so I'll talk about this in general terms and see, if any of this matches up, and maybe it does, and maybe it doesn't. The free personality test that Scientology offers has one and only one purpose, and that is to get the person who took the test to tell the test evaluator their ruin. In other words, the thing that's ruining their life, the thing that they want to change or improve because they feel that it is a very non-optimum and awful or horrible or something they want to change about themselves. Whether it is how they relate to others, how they relate to themselves, maybe they're introverted, whatever their ruin is, that's the purpose of that test. A test evaluator is somebody who will sit down and go through, as you know from your own experience, but just for everybody else, all of the various traits, the character traits that are laid out on the personality test. And I've done a whole video about this, and I will put a link to that in terms of why what the personality test really is all about, how it was created, and what the pseudoscience is behind it. And if you haven't seen that video, you might find it interesting, so check out the link below. So now, odds are that for some reason, maybe they didn't get a ruin on your friend, right? Or they got something, but something else came up during the course of the interview that turned Scientology off to the guy. And there are a few things that'll do that. One of them could be that the person had some kind of psychiatric drug or treatment history of some kind, which always Scientologists are like, well, sorry, can't really do a whole lot with that. I mean, they can have a guy sign up for classes and do classes, so it probably wasn't that. But that is one thing that will turn people off from Scientology is right from the get-go, if you walk in and say, I've had electric shock therapy, I've been institutionalized, I'm currently on psychotropic medications, something like that, they'll show you the door. And back in 1984, they definitely would have done that. Nowadays, the restrictions and regulations on that are looser because they had to get rid of an awful lot of people because of psychiatric institutionalization history or drug history. So that could be a factor. Another one could be that simply that your friend was broke. No money, no Scientology. Bye-bye. See ya. Because that's what they are all about, is getting money from people. And if your friend said, yeah, no, I'm not interested in buying your book, and I'm not, I don't have money for classes, I don't have $50 to pay you, well, okay, out he goes, right? And although they would probably still want to pursue that guy in terms of writing him letters or something like that, but if he didn't buy anything, then Scientology wouldn't necessarily keep his address and phone number because the central files in a Scientology organization are kept according to people who have bought something. They have records of who's done personality tests, but those generally get round filed after about 3 months or something, right? Whereas when somebody's purchased something from the church, they'll never give up your name. Another reason might be that he was just an ass during the course of the test evaluation. If you're snarky with them or snide or, come off like you're a know-it-all or kind of like you mentioned, your friend's a bit of an oddball, they might have thought he was crazy. And, and Scientologists have a pretty unwarranted idea of their own ability when it comes to spotting crazy people, but they do, if there's somebody who's talking in an odd fashion, making weird jokes, being non sequitur, somehow not able to form complete sentences or something. I have no idea why you said your friend was an oddball. I'm just throwing things out here, but they'll generally tend to shy away from people like that because, and in their mind, in the mind of Scientologists, this is easily justified because Scientology exists to make the able more able. So they want people to come in who already can, put together a good sentence and talk coherently and who can think, rationally. And of course that means that they can think with, how great L. Ron Hubbard is, but you get my point. So those kinds of things might be factors as to why they didn't want to pursue your friend. You signed up for a class, so they made a file on you, so they had your number, they had your address, and they were going to keep pursuing you, especially because you signed up and then got up and took off one day. You mentioned this not in the, I edited your question to take out some of the other things that you had said, but you'd mentioned this in the original text of your question, right, that you had signed up and then taken off. So they were going to be all kinds of interested in getting you back, whereas your friend, came in, did the personality test, took off, whatever. They can blow him off a lot more easily than they would you. So that's basically the deal with that.